Hey there everyone, I'm Ashley Billington and you're watching The Campfire. This week we're deep diving into District 7 6A. District 7 6A mixes a couple of different ISDs together. These are the teams that you'll be seeing after realignment. Dallas Jesuit, Irving MacArthur, Irving Nimitz, Richardson Berkner, Lake Highlands, and Richardson Pierce. To vote for who you think will take the district crown, go to our Twitter account. It's at IHSSDFW. Now it's time for a quick trivia question. What was the original name of the band ZZ Top that Irving alumni drummer Frank Lee Beard was in? A to Z, B, The Moving Sidewalks, C, The Zombies, or D, American Blues? What could be the answer? If you think you have the correct answer, go anywhere that you can find The Campfire. We have Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube, and leave a comment with what you believe the correct answer is. We'll release it on Saturday. If you're a podcast person, you're in luck. The Campfire comes in podcast form. Go to Apple Podcasts or Spotify to find our whole Inside High School Sports catalog of podcasts. Now it's time for the film session, presented by your local North Texas Geico agents. District 7 6A went from the District of Doom the past few years to a slightly less ferocious district this year. The cream of the crop will be Jesuit. The Rangers went 9-5 last year, but grabbed the attention of the Metroplex by going 4 rounds deep in the playoffs. That included knocking off defending 6A champs Longview in the first round. Jake Taylor was a 1,000-yard rusher last year, and with E.J. Smith graduated, Taylor will look to carry a lot of the load. The rest of the district consists of Richardson ISD and Irving ISD. Last year, the 3 Irving schools combined went 4-26. Things may be better for Nimitz, MacArthur, and Irving in this new district, as the competition will be more manageable. Of the 3, look for the Cardinals of MacArthur to have the best chance of making the postseason. As for the Richardson teams, Lake Highlands, Pierce, and Richardson have what it takes to make it to the playoffs. The Wildcats and Mustangs lost a lot through graduation, but should have enough waiting in the wings to finish in the top 4. Richardson lost a lot too, but will look to senior Aaron Bertrand to play a huge part on offense. As for Berkner, they will look to improve on a 1-9 record. An interesting mix of teams in this District 7 6A, but those teams need some really great players on them. The North Texas Honda dealers want to recognize the players on the rise, those players destined to lead their team to victory. Lake Highlands quarterback Mitch Colson is going into his senior season with the Wildcats. In 2019, he had 944 passing yards on 61 completions. He was an even bigger threat with his legs, as he ran for 1,411 rushing yards. Colson had 24 touchdowns for Lake Highlands last season. The running back name you're used to hearing at Dallas Jesuit is E.J. Smith. But what if I told you they had another big-time running threat who actually had more rushing yards than Smith in 2019? That's right. Junior Jake Taylor will be the man for the Rangers in 2020. Last year, he had 1,139 rushing yards and 9 total touchdowns. Look for him to be a major key for Jesuit in 2020. Richardson Berkner had a tough 2019 campaign, but they had a bright spot in running back Devin Joshua. Joshua ran for 656 yards on 106 attempts. He averaged 6.2 yards per carry and had 4 touchdowns last season. Vikings running back Eric Williams is just what Irving Nimitz needs to turn their luck around. Williams was Nimitz's leading rusher in 2019. He had 758 rushing yards and 8 rushing touchdowns. Look for him to be a major piece of this offense in the 2020 season. Irving MacArthur defensive end Artemis Wright was the leader of the MAC defense in 2019. Just a sophomore last season, he made big waves. Wright had 5 solo tackles, 19 total tackles, and 2 sacks last season. We will be seeing even more great things coming from this athlete in 2020. And those players accomplished great things on the gridiron. But do you know somebody from the high school sports scene accomplishing great things in your community? A player, coach, or team going that extra mile? Nominate them for the North Texas Honda Helpful Heroes. To nominate, go to ihshelpfulheroes.com and stay tuned to our social media accounts where you could see your nomination highlighted. Now it's time for our Media Day segment where we talk to coaches about their team and the realignment of their district for the 2020 season. Hey there, everyone. I have the head coach of Lake Highlands on with me, Lonnie Jordan. Coach Jordan, how's it going?
Well, we're doing well. Finally got some good news from the UIL that came down, and we're super excited to have the ability to plan. And so we are, we're in the process of doing that right now, finalizing schedules and getting in touch with our kids. Obviously, Dallas County is shut down, so we don't have access to our kids daily, and won't for some time. So it's just, it's a unique year, and it started back in the spring, and it just hasn't stopped. And I'm proud of our kids, and I'm proud of our coaches and the way that we've adjusted and adapted to the new environment. And so right now, knowing that we have a schedule that we can put up and we have some things to plan for is really exciting.
And we'll go into football a little bit. Last year you guys won your first playoff game in 10 years. Is that something that you can build off of for the 2020 season as you're trying to get your Wildcats whirring and ready to go?
Absolutely. It was a great year. We had some of the best kids that I've ever had the opportunity to be around. I mean, just good people, and great football players. And so it was fun, and it was a special year. But those are the types of things you do to really set a standard for your program, and then you can build your culture off of that. And so we know where the bar is for us. And it had been a long time since Lake Highlands had done that. And, not only do we feel fortunate, that happened for us, but boy, just a sense of accomplishment, so the community's excited, the kids are excited, and they know that that's a reality, and that's something that we can do. It is difficult in the fact that we're not seeing our kids. So we're, digitally, virtually, we're trying to reach out to them. I think once we get them here, that reality is going to set in again. And so going back to that, it was a great year, and most of those kids graduated. And so we've talked to this group all along. We have some big shoes to fill, and I think they're ready for that. They're excited for that, and excited for the opportunity not just to go to the playoffs, but to win playoff games and get an opportunity to play, in December, and this year even January. And so we're excited about that process.
And you guys lost a lot up front on defense. How much will you be relying on your senior leadership like Jeremiah Richardson to help you bring along your youthful defense?
Okay, so defensively, we graduated 10 of 11, and Jeremiah is just going to be a junior. So Jeremiah is the only returner, and he's a really, really good football player, but he's young, So, but nevertheless, we do expect for him to come in and take a leadership role. We had a lot of juniors last year that were playing behind those seniors that we had, and they were able to learn. They watched them practice, they watched them work, and they have been excited to move into this spot. And I think our seniors have done a great job, even through all of this of being at workouts and encouraging their teammates. And so I think they're ready to step in and take over.
And looking at District 7-6A, it's kind of gotten a little bit of a facelift, completely different district now. The biggest thing is that you see Duncanville's not there anymore, as well as some of the other high-powered teams that you see in the past. But overall, it looks like this is a district that the Wildcats can definitely make some noise in, if not win. How do you see it as the coach competing in this district for Lake Highlands?
Well, I'll say this. I think it's going to be a very competitive district. I think, when you start looking at playoff implications and which one of these four teams is going to go to the playoffs, I think if you talk to, the 7 different coaches in this district or the 8 different coaches, I think you're going to get, 7 or 8 different answers. So and that's exciting, right? This is going to go right down to the end of district play to determine who gets in. I hope that not only are we one of those, but I hope that we have an opportunity to play, for a district championship. And but there's a lot of good teams in here that that are gonna want to do the same thing. So. And get an opportunity to work with these coaches, and we haven't really even gotten into it yet, but we've had some conversations. The Irving coaches are phenomenal, and the AD over there has been great. We have been with Jesuit before, and so we have a working relationship with those guys, and we're excited, man. We love the challenge. It's the greatest thing about the 2-year realignments that you get to do is that you get some fresh faces every once in a while, and you get some new competitions and the opportunity to build new rivalries. So we're excited about it, and we're ready to go.
Coach, thank you so much for joining us on the Campfire. Good luck to you and your team in the 2020 season. We'll be right back after a couple of messages from our sponsors.
The North Texas Honda dealers recognize members of our high school sports community who take time out to be helpful heroes. Nominate a helpful hero today at ihsshelpfulheroes.com. The film session is brought to you by your local North Texas Geico agents. To find the office near you, go to geico.com/DFW. The District Breakdown is presented by GiveMeTheVIN.com. These teams make it look easy, just like GiveMeTheVIN.com makes it easy to sell your vehicle.
Welcome back to the Campfire. District 7-6A mixes Irving ISD, Richardson ISD, as well as Dallas Jesuit. And though I won't make any predictions for you at the moment, we have someone who will. Now it's time for the District Breakdown presented by GiveMeTheVIN.com. We welcome in Inside High School Sports Insider Ryan Harris to break down District 7-6A more in depth. Ryan?
Thanks, Ashley. District 7-6A is made up of Irving schools and Richardson schools, along with Dallas Jesuit. Only 3 of the 8 teams in this district made the playoffs last season, but Jesuit went on its longest playoff run since joining the UIL. Let's take a look at the playoff picture in District 7. Despite returning just 6 starters from last season's team, I have Dallas Jesuit winning the district. There are plenty of question marks on this team, but running back isn't one of them. E.J. Smith has departed for Stanford, but his understudy is now stepping into the spotlight. Jake Taylor will be the man on offense for this team, and he has 2 talented linemen to run behind. Ryan Lingle and Matthew Craycraft will lead a solid offensive line. Gage Roy figures to step in at quarterback for the Rangers, and his success will be crucial to the offense. Robert Fitzgerald returns to lead a defensive unit that returns just 3 starters. There are question marks for Jesuit, but I trust that the Rangers will answer those questions and win this district. Another team that made the playoffs last year in this district is the Lake Highlands Wildcats. Lake Highlands finished the year with an 8-4 record and even won a playoff game. With quarterback Mitch Colson returning, I expect Lake Highlands to make the playoffs once again. Running back Noel Whitehead returns to form a dynamic duo with Colson in the backfield. The Wildcats return just 1 starter on the defensive side of the ball and talented linebacker Jeremiah Richards. He will anchor a defense that is littered with question marks. One position the Wildcats won't have to worry about is kicker, where all-district selection Will Ferris returns. Despite the question marks on defense, I expect Lake Highlands to finish as the runner-up in District 7. Richardson Pierce made the playoffs last season and finished with a 5-6 record. There will be a new look on offense for the Mustangs this year after graduating a good amount of production on that side of the football. Tyreek Stubbs is a playmaker at running back, but he is the only known playmaker for Pierce on offense at this point. Stubbs can also play in the secondary, but the strength of this team is in the front 7 on defense. Pierce returns several playmakers along the defensive line and at linebacker. With a strong defensive unit, Pierce should make the playoffs if it can find some playmakers to complement Stubbs on offense. One team that will challenge Pierce for the 3rd playoff spot is Richardson, who I have in the final playoff spot in District 7. Richardson missed out on the playoffs last year after finishing with a 5-5 record, and the Eagles will have to fend off several hungry teams who missed out on the playoffs last year as well. Offensive linemen Jalen White and Drew Moss headlined the returning talent on offense, along with wide receivers Judah Allred and Aaron Bertrand. The defense will be the strength of this team as it returns 8 starters, including linebackers Marcellus Dennis and Marcus Jackson. I like Richardson to make a return to the playoffs in 2020. Irving Nimitz returns an astounding 18 starters from a team that finished just 2-8 last season, and they'll be hungry to make the playoffs in 2020. The Vikings will need those 18 starters to improve if a playoff spot is in the cards. An easier district schedule should help Nimitz out, but the Vikings will need to find a productive quarterback. Whoever is named the starter at quarterback will have a talented backfield mate in Eric Williams and a talented receiver to throw to in Brandon Williams. Tad Boone will lead a defense that returns 8 starters. A playoff spot could be in the cards if the Vikings can find a quarterback and if the returning starters progress enough. Billy Skinner takes over at Irving MacArthur after coming over from Arlington Lamar, and he inherits a team that finished 2-8 last season and has some rebuilding to do. Top rusher Davion Morris returns on offense, but the Cardinals lose their quarterback and top receiver from a year ago. Linebacker Justin Pierce returns to lead the defense, but MacArthur could experience some growing pains with a new coach and question marks at key positions. Another team that could experience some growing pains is Richardson Bertner. The Rams have a clean slate in 2020 after finishing 1-9 last season and not much experience returning. Devin Joshua highlights the 6 returning starters for Bertner after starting at both running back and linebacker from the Rams last season. Bertner will need to figure out who its other playmakers are before district play. That leaves the Irving Tigers. Irving broke in a freshman at quarterback last season and failed to win a game. Adrian Medina passed for more than 1,200 yards, and his top target, Jalen Jackson, is back as well. With 15 returning starters, Irving should be looking to capitalize on a more favorable district schedule coupled with a more experienced football team. Now for my player and team to watch in District 7. My team to watch is the Lake Highlands Wildcats. Lake Highlands finally broke through and won a playoff game last season. The Wildcats have a more favorable district, and now with Jesuit graduating so much talent, Lake Highlands could have its eyes on a district championship. I will have my eyes on Lake Highlands this fall. My player to watch is Lake Highlands quarterback Mitch Colson. If Lake Highlands is to win this district, Colson will be the one to take them there. If he has a big season, a district championship could be in the cards. I'll be keeping a close eye on the Lake Highlands district showdown with Jesuit this fall, because that could determine the district championship. That's all I have for District 7, and it was fun as always. Back to you, Ashley.
Ryan, great insight as always. We'll see you next week. That's all we have for this week's edition of The Campfire. Come back every Monday for a new show. Until then, follow our social media accounts. We have Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube that'll be bringing you content all focused on District 7-6A. Until next time, I'm Ashley Bullington, and thank you for watching The Campfire.